We are blessed here in Oregon to have two of the finest senators in the United States Senate, and one of the very best, Jeff Merkley, is with us. Merkley.senate.gov is the website. You can tweet him at Sen, as in Senator, S-E-N, Jeff Merkley, M-E-R-K-L-E-Y. Senator, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So you and Ron Wyden are working with, I think, all the other Democrats and at least one or two Republicans on this resolution of disapproval, if I have the language right, which would reverse former Verizon lawyer Ajit Pai, the head of the FCC, reverse his destruction of net neutrality. Do I have that right?
You have that exactly right. We need a couple more members to join us and make sure that we have a majority next week when we vote on this to save net neutrality.
By a couple more members, you mean at least one more Republican, right?
That's right. When we checked on the rules, we believe that we can win with 50-49 if Senator McCain is not here. Mm-hmm. But we would like this to be a much more emphatic vote, so I'm hoping that when it becomes clear we're going to win, we'll have maybe another 20 or so Republicans join us. That's
remarkable. Now, in Europe and in South Korea, for example, in France, you can get 100 MIPS down, 50 MIPS up, plus your cell phone, plus your cable TV for under $40 a month. You can't get those and the same thing in South Korea. You can't get those kinds of prices in the United States because those countries require whoever runs the copper into your house, whoever runs the pipe into your house, has to allow any internet service provider to provide service over that, like we used to do with phones. You dial up your internet service provider, whether it was AOL or CompuServe, you could pick whoever you wanted, it went over the same phone line. Is there any movement toward bringing competition back to the internet service provider business in the United States, number one? And number two, if so, or if not, for that matter, how does that interact with the concern of numerous municipalities around the United States that are setting out to start their own broadband services, without having to deal with the crummy service and insanely high prices of these for-profit companies like Comcast and whatnot, to AT&T?
Well, you're absolutely right to raise this issue of competition because we pay so much more for service here than anywhere else in the world. And you find that in the cell phone world, and you certainly find that in the broadband world. I do want to pause a moment and explain why this net neutrality vote is so important. Mm-hmm. This is a situation where the ISP providers would like to be able to sell a fast lane on the internet to those who can afford it and stick the rest of us in the slow lane. I'm sure that would increase their profits, but what it does is it creates an unfair playing field for our business. For a small business to be able to challenge a big business, they've got to have their pages load at the same speed. Otherwise, Amazon pages go, flip, 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 while you're sitting there 30 seconds waiting for their competitor, and their competitor just isn't going to be able to compete. So if you believe in entrepreneurship or startups or small business or just an equal opportunity for all commercial players, you've got to weigh in on behalf of net neutrality.
Mm. And I know that you have to boogie here in the next minute or so, but thoughts on municipal broadband? I understand that Republicans are actually promoting legislation in some states that would make it illegal for cities to offer their citizens, city-run broadband the way that they offer them city-run water or sewage or electric.
Yeah, such a ban is so anti-competitive. We see cities that were not served by commercial enterprises who jumped in and said we're going to do our own broadband and have made a very good deal of it. Sometimes then later it becomes in competition, and the competition lowers prices for citizens. But to ban cities from acting, I think is absolutely unfair type of law, and that type of preemption we need to push back against.
Yeah. So finally, for people who want to support the efforts that you and Senator Wyden are taking to undo Ajit Pai's destruction of net neutrality, they should call their senators in the Congressional Switchboard 202-225-3121 and ask for both of their senators ultimately and say exactly what to them.
They should say, save net neutrality. It's the only thing that's fair to our consumers and that's fair to our small business and our entrepreneurs. Don't come home and lecture us about your support for small business if you're trying to discriminate against them and make it impossible for them to compete.
Amen. Very, very well said. Senator Merkley, you're doing God's work. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing and for dropping by today. It's great talking with you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you very much.